when it comes to these colorism videos, I usually tend to avoid it like the plague because these conversations will literally get you nowhere. And it's just like you'll be stuck arguing to the end of time. So there's no point in making these videos. But after I came across this one video, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need to put my 2 cents in. Even though I know this video, like the rest, is going to get you absolutely nowhere, I feel like I have a point to make, and I'm gonna say that a little bit towards the end of the video. But I do want to address certain things. So from time to time, I would see colorism videos, and like I said, I just avoid it. I don't even watch those videos. I already know all their talking points. Yeah, so I usually just avoid watching those videos. But recently, there's been more videos coming out because of Beyonce's pictures. Everyone assumed that she was bleaching her skin and all that other stuff. And a artist that just came out. I don't really listen to her music. I don't. I didn't even know that she was a singer at one point. I just kept seeing her pictures from time to time, and I'm like, oh, this girl's pretty. But apparently, she's a singer from South Africa. I think her name is Tyla or something like that. And she identifies as colored, and a lot of Black people are just, I don't know, they are not okay with that because why is she calling herself colored? Uh, Not even important things. There's other things in the world to worry about, but here we are. So I've been seeing videos like that more and more. And I came across this one YouTuber, and I had the free time. I'm like, okay, let me just check it out. And although she said a lot of things that I can understand and, I agree with, and you don't got to agree with everything someone says, but, there were some things that I agreed with. But there were some things that she said that stuck out to me. And those three things were how Black people find it hard to trust mixed people because they don't know where mixed people stand. And what was the other one? The other one was, oh, where were mixed people during the Black Lives Matter movement? Like, we got to prove ourselves. And the third one was, oh, all skin folks ain't kin folks. And I'm like, oh, okay. So those are the three things that I'm going to address. When it comes to mixed people not being trusted from other Blacks, in my opinion, and where I stand, I don't need to prove anything of my Blackness. Like, I don't need to prove how Black I am to be accepted. And matter of fact, I don't even consider myself to be Black just because I know that that was a term that they put on us for a whole entire paper genocide and stripping of our culture. Why would I still even bother to use that term when my ancestors was never calling themselves Black? They never wanted to call themselves Black or Negro or colored or mulatto. That's not what they were calling themselves. Like, that was put on us by the white man. And I don't know why people are fighting for this Black card. That's a whole nother video in itself. But I don't use that I'm Black. That's not a race, that's not an ethnicity, that's a color. And yeah, I can have that. Like, yeah, I can have that. But to mixed people who still use the Black card or consider themselves Black, like, y'all don't need to prove to Black people why y'all should be trusted. Y'all don't need to prove to Black people where y'all stand. Like, it's in our blood. Like, you can't strip away our heritage. You can't strip away all the records of our ancestors being labeled as Negro. Like, you can't take that from us. And the one thing that she said about us not showing up to the Black Lives Matter movement, like, to prove, like, where was we doing the Black Lives Matter? Like, why do we need to show up to a movement to prove that we are a part of the culture? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, do other coaches gotta show up to their movements to prove how much they are of that culture or ethnicity? It just, no. Like, I don't need to prove myself to anybody in this community. Like, I show up for my ancestors every day by doing the best that I can. um I'm already going back to how my, like, what my ancestors called themselves, and all the things that happened to them, finding land that they owned and all that stuff. And that's a whole another video. I'm gonna try not to make this too long, but I'm already showing up and doing all the things that I can, and to fix the generational curse that's been passed down because of the whole paper genocide and everything that's happened in America. Like, so with that being said, I don't need to prove none of us doesn't even need to prove that we are black enough. And at the end of the day, it's all mind games, because to me, it's just like, what is black? Like, we all don't even come from the same tribes. But so this YouTuber that I am talking about, I have put the video that she made in the community tab. I reposted it if y'all want to check it out. So y'all know what I'm talking about. But some of the things that she said in this video that she made, I did agree with. And one of the things that I agreed with was that how black started in America. It's more of a American thing. So when people were getting on Tyler for calling herself, you know, colored, I mean, she's from South Africa. Like, they have a different culture. We're here in America. We have a different culture. So you shouldn't be upset at other people of color wanting to identify a certain way instead of just saying black, because that's not who they are. That's not where they come from. We have that history of being called black, Negro, nigger, all that stuff. And I'm saying this because when it comes to the whole black thing, and mixed people or black people having a hard time trusting mixed people because they don't know where we stand, and how we need to prove our black card. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna start off with this. What is black? Okay, as far as I know, the black term, that word was put on our ancestors long ago. That was a whole paper genocide. They stripped away our culture and labeled us as Negro, nigger, colored, mulatto, Negro, black. Like, that's what they started putting on these census, and just stripping away our culture. And I feel like people have taken that black term way too far, where they can just pick and choose who's black enough, you're not black enough, all this other stuff, and this whole colorism term. And it just gets so confusing at this point. But just for the sake of these mind games, and even though I know that black is not really a ethnicity or race or whatever, and that was used to for paper genocide and whatnot. Since I already know the whole history of that, for the sake of these talking points, these conversations, whatever, to play these mind games, I'll use the word black. So when it comes to being black, a lot of us mixed folks, we know what it means to be Black. We grew up in the community. We have family members who are Black, and we we know we know what it means. We experience it, and for the most part, most of us know of how it affected our families through the generational curses. Like, a lot of our families, some don't know, some know. Like, I know that my family have lived through the whole Wilmington massacre. Um, there were a bunch of massacres that happened around back in the day with a lot of Black communities. Um, our land got taken away, stuff like that. Like, a lot has happened, and therefore, like, we we know, like, through the generational curses, it's just, and everything that's happened and the mindset and how our families like became of this from everything that's happened. Like, I know what it means to be Black. Like, my grandparents had to sit on the back of the bus. Like, my grandfather had told my dad, he told my dad, don't marry a white woman because white people carry diseases. Like, that was the mindset of my grandparents, and so on and so forth. Like, so for Black people to say we don't know where I stand, it doesn't matter. Like, the shit runs through our veins, it's in our DNA. We come from that lineage of Black American history. Like, that's on you if you guys don't trust us. Like, that's really on you. I don't need to prove myself by showing up to Black Lives Matter movements. Like, it just, like, you know what? But what do I know? What do I know? But I will say this though, by Black Americans using the Black card with other people coming in and saying, oh, they got the same complexion, you're Black too, this and that, whatever, whatever, that has caused more problems. And I'm just going to explain a little bit because this video would be like an hour long. So, this girl that was talking in her video, she happens to be African, lived in America, lives in Canada, has, African background. And she says something so interesting. I was just like, She had mentioned how all skin folks ain't kin folks. And I remember growing up, when I was little, all the grown-ups, all the elders that are, most of them are long gone. I used to hear that from them, the whole all skin folks ain't kin folks. And if I'm not mistaken, that's more of a Southern term. And I used to hear all my elders say that. And when I was younger, I never really understood what that meant, but now I do. And I find it so interesting how someone from, not even from here, can say that to someone like myself or anyone who's a mixed American, that all skin folks ain't kin folks, using our own slang on us. I was like, ooh, the audacity. And that's because of this Black card thing. So by everybody just coming in and just taking the whole Black card, therefore they can actually take our culture. And it's already been happening little by little, but Black Americans, I don't know if they saw it at first because they just thought everybody was like cousins or whatever. And then they treat the light skins of their community like we ain't kinfolks. But I digress. But I don't know if they saw it coming, because now you have people like Jamaicans. They are saying that they created hip hop. My dad was a DJ. I grew up listening to hip hop, R&B, jazz, house music. My dad was like his whole thing was house music. He loved playing that. But yeah, hip hop, R&B, jazz, house music. I did grow up with dance hall and reggae and stuff like that. Like I do have Caribbean in my heritage, so I used to hear that music all the time as well. But my dad was a DJ. I grew up with all that stuff, funk, like you name it, like all of everything that is Black American music. And now you have immigrants coming in saying, no, they created hip hop. And you have other immigrants coming in, like, I don't know that rapper's name. I don't really listen to him. Ratimi, whatever. I think he's from like New Jersey, but he has like a Nigerian background. I saw an interview where he said that he's a actual, like the real African American. And, you know, you have them saying that we don't know who we are and stuff like that. And I've also heard some things from Spanish people as well, like how Latinos were here first. Like that's how crazy it's getting. And I'm just like, you know, it's interesting. And you have someone like myself who's mixed with that Black American heritage, who understands the whole history of it all. But yet there's someone like this woman that said all skin folks ain't kin folks, and that term comes from my culture. Like, how are you gonna use that on someone like myself or any other mixed American? Like, make it make sense. But that's what happens when you just use the Black card or on anybody that just comes here that has the same complexion of you thinking that they're all kin folks. But I digress. But like I said in the beginning of this video, these conversations get you nowhere, because at the end of the day, it's just going to lead to more arguments and more debates, and I don't got time for that. And it's just but the reason why I am making this video, because, you know, I thought to myself that this is just YouTube. You know, anybody could get on here and say anything, you know, but because I come from that Black American heritage background, I know that this could lead to even bigger issues, because we're already divided as it is. So I had this aunt on my dad's side. She was dark skinned, and she had a lot of kids, and mostly girls. I think like two boys. I know one of my cousins, he passed away a long time ago, and that's the reason why I look confused, because I'm like, two boys? Yeah, he passed away a long time ago. All of her daughters were either dark skin or brown skin, and her last son, he came out light skin. And I remember when me and my siblings would go over to their place, you know, me and my sister, we always hung around the girls. Like, that's what we normally did. We hung around the girl cousins more than the boy cousins. And because my cousin, her son was light skinned, she used to, you know, say things like, oh my gosh, like, you know, you guys are both light skinned and this and that. Like, she will always mention him being light skinned. And, you know, I was little at the time, and I just never knew why she would always mention his complexion and how we need to hang around him. Like, I want to go hang with the girls, like play Barbie dolls and we used to play Nintendo, hide and go seek, all this little stuff, and the jumping jacks. But I'm like, okay, like I don't care that he's light skinned. I'm gonna go hang with Bridget and them. But she used to do that all the time. And at some point, maybe when we hit like preteens or something. Like things just started changing, and it got, long story short, it got too awkward to even like hang around anymore, because there was like this low-key division, and it was just too awkward to even like to be around. And after I found out what she did to my mother, because she didn't like my mother because of her complexion, I just didn't feel comfortable going around them anymore. And when my aunt was on her deathbed, um, she was saying like how proud she was of me and stuff like that. And I was talking to her about, like, at the time when I was really deep into doing family research, still am, but at the time I was really like into it. And she was saying some things about the family and about um my great grandfather, who she said was light skinned. She had a picture of him mentioning his light skinnedness. And once again, I'm just like, I don't really care for complexions. But it was interesting because she was telling me how it just sucked, always being picked last because of what she looked like. And when she said that, I was just, I was like, wow, like, why did it take her so long to like finally open up about that? Because I feel like she caused like so much division within, like, between me and cousins. And it just, it's a long story, but it really took for her to be on her deathbed to like start opening up and stuff like that. And she passed away. And to me, I'm just like, it just sucks that she went through her whole life not realizing her own beauty. And I'm saying all this because a lot of people watch YouTube, and nowadays I'm starting, like, when I talk to people and when I hear like their talking points, like when you know how somebody, and when they say something a little bit off, you're just like, where did you get that from? Like, that's not you. So when I hear certain people talk, I'm like, where do they get this from? Because that doesn't even sound like them. And then when I come across a video on YouTube, like maybe the manosphere shit, and I hear how they talk, and then I hear the guys that I talk to in like real life, and they're saying some shit that they get off of YouTube. I'm just like, all right, everybody's on YouTube, everybody's getting their talking points from YouTube. So okay, so I'm saying this because you're gonna have a lot of people and the younger generation watching these videos, and they're going to be thinking that mixed people don't, well, mixed people need to prove their blackness and who's black enough and all this other stuff, and these talking points that get nowhere. And you're gonna have light skinned people feeling like some type of way, and they're gonna be confused and whatnot. So that's why I'm making this video, because it goes beyond YouTube, because this shit really hits real life when it comes to the Black community, which someone like myself definitely understands. And when I hear YouTubers talk about colorism and all that stuff, and saying things about mixed people and we don't trust y'all, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like, it's just, you don't need to trust me. I know who I am. I know who my people are. And therefore, like, I don't need to prove myself. But I do see how this could affect the Black community down the line, since online is more of a thing. And I don't know, that's all I gotta say, because this video will be very, very long. If I sounded like I was all over the place with this video, it's just too much at this point. And I feel like for the ones who get it will get it, and for the ones who don't. And it really is what it is at this point. So yeah.